What's up, guys? Welcome to K-Chat Connor. I am Connor. This can be my preview for UFC 322. We finally made it, boys. A good fight card. Finally, we made it through hell. That was the first two Apex card of November, and we are here to UFC 322. What is maybe the best card of the year on paper? Theoretically at least. Two champs moving up from a division to fight another champ. So two super fights, really, and it's very rare in the UFC that we get that, especially two of them on the same card. So awesome cards, stacked to the deck. Fucking love it. Let's get into the full thing here then, guys. But before we do, please remember to subscribe to the channel, like the video, do all that. Appreciate it very much. Thank you. All right, let's get into it. Of course, in your main event, Jack Della Maddalena, the UFC welterweight champion, is taking on Islam Makhachev, the former UFC lightweight champion. Hate that it's former. Kind of wish they just let Islam keep the belt, especially right now, but is what it is, I guess. Whatever. Ilia Topuria is your lightweight champ. Islam Makhachev vacated the belt to move up a division to fight Jack Della Maddalena for the UFC welterweight title. Jack Della Maddalena coming in at plus 215. Islam Makhachev coming in at a minus 290. Odds makers really riding with Islam here pretty heavily, and think I'm kind of leaning with them the closer we get to this fight. Jack Della Maddalena, of course, coming off that win over Bilal Muhammad, in which he won the UFC welterweight title in an awesome fight. I just rewatched this fight. It is a sick fight, and Jack Della Maddalena going to be looking to do much of the same against Islam Makhachev. Really, I think someone in Jack's camp pointed this out, or Jack pointed this out in an interview too, but it's really good that he had this fight with Bilal Muhammad before this fight with Islam Makhachev. Kind of a good preparation fight for Islam Makhachev was this Bilal Muhammad fight. Bilal Muhammad going to be looking to do similar things that Islam Makhachev is going to be able to do. They've even trained together in the past, so somewhat similar styles. I wouldn't necessarily say Bilal Muhammad's wrestling and grappling style is the same as Islam Makhachev, but it's kind of as close as you're going to get in that welterweight division right now, unless you get someone that actually trains with Islam, someone that's part of that Team Habib camp. Which I can't even, no one's even coming to mind that would be there. I know Habib's got like a fucking cousin or whatever that was at welterweight, but I don't even think that guy's in the UFC anymore. Anyways, doesn't matter. What I'm saying is it was very good preparation for Jack to fight Bilal before this. Good preparation for Islam Makhachev. Of course, he won the welterweight title during this fight. Sick fight, like I was saying. Came down to that last round, really did. Every time I rewatch it, it comes down to that last round, and Jack Della really put it on him in that fifth round, and that's what wins you titles in this sport, man. Jack Della, of course, been around the UFC a little while now. I believe he's 8-0 in the promotion. Could even be 9-0. I can't remember exactly. Before that, beat Gilbert Burns and had a very long layoff before that. I forget what he injured. I think he broke his arm in the Gilbert Burns fight. And they had to do some sort of surgery on that, and it took a while to heal. So Jack Della Maddalena was out for well over a year. And dude's looked pretty unstoppable in his UFC career thus far. I mean, I was watching some highlights of him, and yeah, and by the way, I've watched all his fights live too. I'm not some guy that didn't. Anyways, he's really hard to finish. You know, every time Jack has gotten in stuck in a submission, there's been a couple fights. There was one fight where he was stuck in an arm triangle and he rolled out of that, and it was a deep arm triangle. Even in his Contender Series fight, he almost got submitted, but he got out of that. So Islam's gonna have trouble finding a submission, and if he does find it, he's gonna have trouble actually finishing Jack with it. And I'm very curious to see how that goes. I'm very curious to see how the grapples and the scrambles are gonna go in this fight. Is Jack Della going to be able to get up off his feet? Is he going to even get taken down? Those questions are going to have to be answered. Of course, Islam Makhachev coming off that win over Nato Moicano, in which he was supposed to fight Arman Sarukian from way earlier this year. I believe it was the first pay-per-view card. Nato Moicano was already on the card, so he filled in on late notice, on like a day's notice, because Arman Sarukian pulled out. You guys probably already know this story. Islam Makhachev, of course, long time reigning UFC lightweight champion. Not that long, but it was long enough. What bothers me too is it's not like Islam actually cleared out the division. Like, there's still names at lightweight he could have fought. I would have waited a couple more fights at the very least if I was Islam, but is what it is. Like, the Armin Sarukian rematch kind of needed to happen, and then of course Ilya Taporia was right there, and that would have been a massive fight for Islam. So I kind of wish we would have got through those first before Islam decided to move up, but is what it is. Seems like he was sick of making the lightweight limit, doing those weight cuts over and over again. Probably very draining on his body. So I get it. I get why he wanted to move up now. Who am I picking in this fight? All right, so I'm thinking. I just don't see Jack being able. I think Islam is like probably the best grappler in the UFC, or one of them at the very least. Probably him and Hamza, 1 and 2 right now. For guys that are grappling with that style at an elite level, like in the top 10 type thing in their division. And I think Islam is just he's just too good, man. I just think he's gonna be able to hold Jack down when he wants to. He's gonna be able to find submissions when he wants to, and I think Jack will be able to get out of those. I think it's going to be a tough fight, like especially the first couple rounds. But I think as Jack gets more and more tired, I don't think Islam will. I actually think he will be in a better position now with his conditioning than he has been in previous fights, simply just because he's not cutting the weight. I know a lot of times that doesn't work out like that because the other guy will put on a lot of muscle, and certainly Islam has put on a lot of muscle here, but I think it's going to benefit him more and it's going to hurt him here. So I'm picking Islam Makhachev. I'm picking Islam Makhachev by decision, too. I don't think he's going to be able to finish Jack. I think Jack's too good with his submission defense. I think he knows how to get out of these positions a little too well to get submitted by Islam. But yeah, so I'm picking Islam Makhachev by decision. Not super confident in it. I won't be surprised at all if Jack ends up getting a TKO here. I don't think Islam's going to be able to finish Jack. That I would be surprised by. But I do think if Jack wins, he will have to get the finish. If this goes to the scorecards, I think Islam's winning. So I think it's gonna be rough going pretty early, but then Islam's gonna look pretty dominant in the later rounds 3 and 4, and then maybe Jack comes back a little bit in like the fifth, and I could see it getting kind of dicey from Islam. So I don't know. I think it's gonna be a 48-47 unanimous decision for Islam Makhachev. That's what I'm picking. I think it's gonna be a fantastic fight. I really can't wait for it. In your co-main event, Valentina Shevchenko is taking on Weili Zhang, the second super fight of the night. Valentina Shevchenko coming in at -130. Weili Zhang coming in at +102. Weili Zhang, of course, vacating her UFC strawweight title to move up to flyweight and fight Valentina Shevchenko. Of course, Valentina Shevchenko, longtime UFC flyweight champion, UFC women's flyweight champion, coming off that win over Manon Fiorot from back at that same card where JDM fought Bilal Muhammad. And she looked fantastic in that one too. I think a lot of people were picking Fiorot going into that fight. Kind of a younger version of Valentina Shevchenko, although Fiorot's pretty old in her own right. She just feels really young because she's kind of newer to the sport, but young in the game, but old in age. Anyways, it doesn't matter. Valentina Shevchenko looked fairly dominant against her. I gave her like 4 of those rounds if I'm remembering correctly. Of course, before that, she had the trilogy with Alexa Grasso, in which that's still kind of unsettled, like Alexa Grasso finished her once, and then they drawed once, and then Valentina won one, so they're kind of 1-1-1, still kind of tied up. I wonder if we'll ever get to a point where we get that rematch. Valentina Shevchenko, of course, has like 8 title defenses at this flyweight weight class, being, Joanna Jędrzejczyk, Jessica Eye, pretty much beat everyone that's ever tried to come up and fight her at flyweight, except Alexa Grasso, like I was saying. Weili Zhang, coming off that big win over Tatiana Suarez, in which she was a pretty big underdog in that fight and looked fairly good throughout the course of that fight, except that first round where she got kind of 10-8'd and she just kind of couldn't deal with the size of Tatiana Suarez in that first round, especially. And I'm wondering if something similar will happen here. Valentina Shevchenko, underrated grappling game. So I'm wondering if Valentina is going to be looking to wrestle a little bit more here, kind of wear Weili out with the size. And I'll be curious to see what's Weili's plan to kind of counter that here, because I feel like Weili's best bet to win this fight is on the feet. But even there, that's dicey too. Like Valentina Shevchenko is a world-class women's kickboxer, so I don't really see a lot of ways Weili Zhang can win this fight. I think she's going to be a little too small. I think the size and strength of Valentina Shevchenko is just going to be a bit too much for her. And I don't think that power is going to really carry up with her or be enough to put away someone like Valentina Shevchenko. So I'm picking Valentina Shevchenko. I'm picking Valentina Shevchenko by decision. Uh, Pretty confident on that one. I think Weili Zhang will be back at strawweight sooner rather than later. In your next fight, the was this the people's main event? What do we call the third one? I can't remember. This certainly isn't the people's main event, but this is a fantastic fight. Sean Brady taking on Michael Morales. Sean Brady coming in at a minus 148. Michael Morales coming in at plus 116. Can't wait for this fight. Big stakes for the welterweight division here in this one. Uh, Sean Brady coming off that win over Leon Edwards, in which he submitted him in London earlier this year. On a hot streak right now, Sean Brady running a 3-fight win streak going into this one. Got wins over Kevin Gastelum, got wins over Leon Edwards. I forget who else he beat there, but ranked very high in the UFC welterweight division now. I believe he's two or three, something like that. And yeah, it's we got a nice little mini tournament going on here in this welterweight division, which I'm very excited to get started with. Michael Morales coming off that win over Gilbert Burns, in which he finished Gilbert Burns. And before that, Neil Magny. Mike Morales, undefeated, very young, only 26 years old, huge welterweight, and has looked pretty unstoppable in his UFC career thus far. Gonna be curious to see what Michael Morales' game plan is here. You know, both very good grapplers. I don't know if this is gonna end up being Sean Brady's grappling taking over and just being too much for Mike Morales, just too much too soon. You know, it's not like Mike Morales has like a huge background in wrestling or anything like that. He just trains with really high level guys in grappling and has been able to build a very impressive grappling skill set in his own right. But I just don't know if he's going to be able to handle Sean Brady in that realm, or if they're going to cancel each other's grappling out. Which typically happens when two grapplers fight each other, and if that ends up happening, I'm heavily favoring Mike Morales. I think Mike Morales is a little bit better on the feet than Sean Brady. I also think he carries more power, especially in his hands, than Sean Brady, and that's kind of what I'm leaning towards is going to happen here. I think Mike Morales is grappling and Sean Brady's grappling are going to kind of cancel each other out, and I think Mike Morales is going to get a TKO here. I think he's going to land something big on Sean Brady in like the second and be able to get Brady out of there. So I'm picking Mike Morales TKO round 2. Not 100% confident in it, but that is what I'm leaning towards. And that's a good underdog pick if you're better out there. In your next fight, Leon Edwards taking on Carlos Prates. Leon Edwards coming in at plus 164. Carlos Prates coming in at minus 215. Odds makers are crazy on this one. I know Leon's on a bad losing streak. He's on a 3-fight losing streak now. Or is it 2? Bilal, Sean Brady. Am I forgetting someone? I feel like I'm forgetting someone. Doesn't matter. Of course, Leon Edwards coming off that loss to Sean Brady, in which he got dominated in that fight. Was the somewhat long time UFC welterweight champion. Cracked up 3 title defenses, I think. One against Kamaru and one against Colby, so 2 title defenses. Then he ran into Bilal Muhammad and got absolutely dominated in that fight as well. Look, I'm not even a big Leon Edwards fan. I wouldn't even call me a fan of him at all. But I do think he has an edge over Carlos Prates here. I think he's going to be looking to do something similar to what Ian Gary was able to do against Carlos Prates, which is kind of just have a point kickboxing match with him and be able to just outclass him on the feet, have better striking, have better kicks, have better punches. And I think Leon kind of possesses all of that. It's just will the right Leon Edwards turn up on the night? Carlos Prates coming off that big knockout over Jeff Neal, which he landed a brutal spinning elbow, the second best spinning elbow of that night. Of course, before that, like I was saying, he has that loss to Ian Gary, which he looked okay in that fight, especially in the 5th round. He really came alive and almost got Ian Gary out of there, but Ian Gary was just too much on the feet for him. Carlos Prates, of course, one of the heaviest hitters at welterweight, if not the heaviest hitter at welterweight, so he certainly has the power to put Leon away. It's just, I don't think he's going to be able to do it. I'm picking Leon Edwards by decision. I don't think this is going to be a particularly good fight either, if I had to guess, but we shall see. I'm hoping for the best, but, you know, if I had it my way, Carlos Prates would get a first-round knockout here, but I just don't think that's going to happen. In your opening for the main card, Beneil Dariush taking on Benoit Saint-Denis. Benoit Saint-Denis coming in at minus 215. Beneil Dariush coming in at a plus 164. Good old Benny Dariush here, coming off that win over Renato Moicano from earlier this year. Which he looked good in that fight, man. He got knocked down in the first round, but then was able to come back, rallied back, won the next 2 rounds, fairly easily too. Benny Dariush still got it, you know. I think we all think this guy's like way older than he is too, because he's just been around for so long, and his gray hair doesn't help him either. But nonetheless, I think Benny Dariush still got it. I think he still looks good. Huge power in his hands, great grappler, good submissions. Benoit Saint Denis coming off that win over Mauricio Ruffy from back at the Paris card. Of course, before that oh no, before that he beat Kyle something in that Canada card on short notice. But then before that, had that loss to Dustin Poirier. Went back to the drawing board after that loss. Kind of had to reinvent himself a little bit. And now he's back inside the rankings, inside the top 10, and fighting really high level guys. I think it's going to be a little too much for Benoit Saint Denis. I think Benoit Dariush matches up very well with him. I don't think Benoit Saint Denis is going to be able to crack Benny with anything heavy enough to get Benny out of there. And I also think on the ground, he's going to be a little bit outclassed by Dariush. I think Dariush's grappling is really high level, and I don't think Benoit Saint Denis is going to be shooting for any takedowns on him, and I think on the feet it'll be closely contested. I'm picking Dariush. I'm picking Dariush by submission. I think he's going to drop a good old club and sub. I think Dariush is going to drop Benoit BSD at some point and take his back, get a choke, probably in like the second round. So I'm going Benny Dariush submission second round. That'd be my official pick. Pretty confident in that one. I think BSD is a little overrated, just in my opinion. Here goes a look at the full card. My picks for the full card are in green, losers in red. I also have the method of which I think they will win in parentheses there. Roman Kapilov versus Gregory Rodriguez, RoboCop. Really looking forward to that fight. Gonna take Roman Kapilov by decision. I think that's gonna be a war, and Kapilov's gonna squeeze out 2 rounds. Bo Nickel, obviously picking him by sub. They gave him that matchup for a reason. Pretty easy layup for Bo Nickel, should be at least. So we'll see. We'll see bounce back fight after that loss to RDR. Aaron Blanchfield, Tracy Cortez. I'm picking Aaron Blanchfield by decision. Malcolm Wellmaker getting a short notice opponent. I think he's gonna knock him out that first round. That dude's got extremely heavy hands. Jared Marshart versus Kyle Dawkins. Can't wait for that fight. Jared Marshart, I'm going to pick him by sub round 3. I think Jared Marshart is just going to do Jared Marshart things in that fight. And that means it'll be a war, and he'll look like he's losing until he's not. And then he gets a submission in the third round. Pat Sabatini, picking him by submission. That guy that trains with Hamza, whose name I can't pronounce, going to pick him by sub round 1. He's undefeated, so interested to see that. And that is UFC 322, everyone. Great card. Can't wait for it. Gonna be watching from start to finish. Might even buy the pay-per-view because it's one of the last pay-per-views that you can buy. But probably not. Don't hold your breath on that one, Dana. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please remember to subscribe to the channel. Let me know your picks for UFC 322, who you think's gonna win and all that. Let me know your thoughts on Islam Makhachev moving up to welterweight. And let me know your thoughts on Weili Zhang moving up to flyweight. Should be a great night of fights. Can't wait for it, guys. Let me know how excited you are in the comments as well. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.